I treated my 13-year-old stepdaughter like an intruder in her own home. I kicked her out of her room every weekend, let my friends spill beer on her homework, and took away her air conditioning as punishment. When she finally broke down and asked what she did wrong, I grounded her for a month. My fiancé took her kids and vanished. CPS called it child abuse. Now I understand why. I told a 13-year-old girl she didn't deserve a bedroom because she wasn't my real daughter. I said that out loud to a child who had done nothing wrong except exist in a house I decided was mine. I looked at her face, saw the tears forming, and felt nothing but irritation that she was making a big deal out of something so small. It wasn't small. I'm writing this because 3 weeks ago, the woman I loved packed up her children and left without saying goodbye. I came home from work to an empty house. No note. No explanation. Just gone. Her number is disconnected. Her social media blocked me. Her family won't tell me where she is. And I deserve it. I deserve every second of this silence. I deserve the empty rooms and the cold bed and the realization that I destroyed the only family that ever wanted me. I need to write this down because maybe if I say it out loud, maybe if strangers on the internet tell me what I already know, I'll finally accept that I'm the villain in this story. My name doesn't matter. I'm 34 years old. I was engaged to a woman named Vanessa. She had 2 kids from her previous marriage, her daughter Lily, who was 13, and her son Marcus, who was 10. We'd been together for 2 years, engaged for 6 months, and I ruined everything in less than 3. Vanessa was the first woman who ever made me feel like I could be something more than what I was. I grew up rough. Dad was in and out of prison. Mom worked 3 jobs and still couldn't keep the lights on. I learned early that the world doesn't give you anything, so you have to take what you can. That mentality served me well in some ways. I worked my way up from nothing, got a decent job in construction, saved enough to buy a small house. By 32, I had more than anyone in my family ever had. But that mentality poisoned me in ways I didn't understand until it was too late. I met Vanessa at a friend's barbecue. She was beautiful, kind, laughed at my jokes even when they weren't funny. She told me about her divorce, about how her ex had cheated and left her with 2 kids and nothing else. She'd rebuilt her life from scratch. I respected that. I saw myself in her. We moved fast. Dating for 8 months, then I asked her to move in. She was hesitant at first, worried about how her kids would adjust. But her apartment lease was ending, rent was going up, and my house had 3 bedrooms. It made sense. The kids will have their own rooms, I told her. They'll have a yard. They'll have stability. She believed me. I believed me too. The problems started almost immediately. See, I'd lived alone for 6 years before Vanessa moved in. I had my routines, my habits, my way of doing things. Suddenly there were kids everywhere. Toys in the living room. Noise at all hours. Someone always needing something. I told myself I'd adjust. I told myself this was what family felt like. But I didn't adjust. I resent it. Marcus was easy. He was 10, loved sports, thought I was cool because I could throw a football. We'd play catch in the backyard, watch games together, do guy stuff. I liked him. He felt like he could be mine. Lily was different. She was quiet. Bookish. Spent most of her time in her room reading or drawing or talking to friends online. She didn't go out of her way to bond with me, and I took that personally. I told myself she was cold, standoffish, that she didn't want me there. Looking back, she was just a 13-year-old girl adjusting to a new home and a new man in her mother's life. She wasn't rejecting me. She was being cautious. She was protecting herself. But I didn't see that. I saw a kid who didn't appreciate what I was giving her. The room thing started about 4 months after they moved in. I had friends over every Friday night. Poker, beer, the usual. Before Vanessa, we'd play in my spare room. I had a table set up, a mini fridge, everything. It was my space. That spare room was now Lily's bedroom. The first few months, we played in the living room. It was fine. Cramped, but fine. Then one of my buddies complained about the kids' toys everywhere, about how we couldn't really relax with family photos staring at us. "Why don't we use your old game room?" he asked. "Can't. That's the girls' room now." "So? Make her sleep on the couch for one night. It's your house." He said it like it was obvious. Like it was reasonable. Like a child's bedroom was something that could be borrowed whenever I wanted it. I should have said no. Instead, I went to Lily that Friday afternoon and told her she'd need to sleep in the living room tonight because I was having friends over and we needed her room. She looked confused. "My room?" "Yeah. Just for tonight. We need the space." "Can't you use the living room?" We're using your room. It's not a big deal. Just grab your pillow and whatever you need. She looked at her mom. Vanessa was standing in the doorway, and I could see the hesitation on her face. But she didn't say anything. She just gave Lily a small nod, like she was telling her to go along with it. Lily grabbed her pillow and her phone and went to the couch without another word. That should have been the end of it. One night. One time. But it became every Friday. Then every Friday and Saturday. Then whenever I felt like having people over, I started treating Lily's room like it was still mine. I'd go in there to smoke with my friends even when she wasn't displaced, leaving the smell of cigarettes in her clothes and her bedding. I'd leave beer cans on her desk. I'd let my buddies crash on her floor if they were too drunk to drive. She complained once. Just once. My room smells like smoke, she said at breakfast one morning. And someone spilled beer on my homework. I looked at her like she'd insulted me. Your room? Last time I checked, I pay the mortgage on this house. That makes it my room. I'm letting you use it. If you don't like the arrangement, you can sleep on the couch permanently. Vanessa put her hand on my arm. Babe, maybe we could. No. She needs to learn that this is my house and I make the rules. Lily's eyes filled with tears. She pushed back from the table and ran to her room. I went back to eating my breakfast like nothing happened. After that, I stopped even pretending to care about her comfort. I'd kick her out of her room with no notice. I'd go through her things when she wasn't home, telling myself I was making sure she wasn't hiding anything. I'd criticize everything about her. Her clothes were too dark. Her music was too loud. Her attitude was disrespectful. She wasn't disrespectful. She was surviving. But I couldn't see that. I only saw a kid who wasn't grateful enough, who didn't worship me for putting a roof over her head, who dared to have feelings about being treated like a guest in her own home. The AC incident happened in July. Texas summer. 100-degree heat. The kind of weather that can kill people if they're not careful. Lily had been talking back again. I don't even remember what she said. Something about wanting to go to a friend's house instead of staying home for a family dinner. Normal teenage stuff. I decided she needed to be punished. No AC for you this week, I told her. You want to act like you don't want to be part of this family? Fine. You don't get family privileges. Vanessa's face went pale. You can't be serious. Dead serious. She can use a fan if she's hot. Or she can apologize and learn some respect. Lily stared at me with this look I'll never forget. Not anger. Not sadness. Just resignation. Like she'd finally understood who I really was. She didn't apologize. She slept in her room with a small desk fan and didn't complain once. That made me angrier. I wanted her to break. I wanted her to come to me, crying, begging for forgiveness. I wanted to feel powerful. Instead, she just endured. So I escalated. No electronics. I took her phone, her laptop, her tablet. I told her she could earn them back with good behavior, but I never defined what that meant. The goalposts were always moving. No lights after 9 p.m. If I caught her reading with a flashlight, I'd take the flashlight. No school dance. Her first high school dance was coming up in September. She'd been talking about it for weeks, had picked out a dress with Vanessa, was actually excited about something for the first time since I'd started treating her like an intruder. I told her she hadn't earned it. She finally broke. What do I have to do? She screamed at me. What do you want from me? I do everything you ask. I sleep on the couch whenever you want. I don't complain about my room smelling like smoke. I haven't seen my friends in weeks. What else do you want? I want respect. I have been respectful. You just hate me because I'm not your real kid. The words hung in the air. She was right. I hated her because she wasn't mine. Because she didn't look at me the way Marcus did. Because she was a reminder that Vanessa had a life before me, that I wasn't her first choice, that I was just the guy who came after. I should have apologized. I should have seen myself in that moment, ugly and cruel and small. Instead, I grounded her for a month for disrespecting me. Vanessa found me in the garage that night. She was shaking. Her eyes were red like she'd been crying. We need to talk, she said. About what? Lily's attitude? I'm handling it. You're not handling it. You're abusing her. The word hit me like a slap. Abusing? I'm teaching her discipline. I'm teaching her that actions have consequences. You took away her AC in the middle of summer. You use her bedroom as a smoking lounge. You've isolated her from her friends, taken her phone, banned her from her school dance. That's not discipline. That's cruelty. She needs to learn. Learn what? That the man her mother brought into her life hates her? She already knows that. She's known it for months. I started to argue, but Vanessa held up her hand. I've been making excuses for you. Telling myself you'd adjust, you'd bond with her eventually, you'd see what an amazing kid she is. But you don't want to see it. You want her gone? That's not. I heard you on the phone last week. Telling your friend you wished I'd come without the baggage. That's what you called my daughter. Baggage. I had said that. I'd forgotten I said it. Or maybe I just didn't think anyone was listening. Vanessa, I need time to think. I'm taking the kids to my sister's for a few days. She left that night. I thought it was temporary. A cooling off period. She'd realize she was overreacting, we'd talk it out, things would go back to normal. 3 days became a week. A week became 2. Then I came home to an empty house. Every piece of clothing, every toy, every photo, gone. Like they'd never been there. Like I'd imagined the whole family. She left one thing behind. A note on the kitchen counter. I should have protected her from the start. I failed her by staying as long as I did. Don't try to find us. It's over. That was 3 weeks ago. I've been alone ever since. The first week, I convinced myself she'd come back. She was emotional. She was overreacting. She'd cooled down, realized that every couple has problems, and we'd work through it. I'd apologize for going too far. I'd promise to do better. She'd forgive me because that's what people who love each other do. I called her number. Disconnected. I emailed her. No response. I drove to her sister's house. Nobody answered the door. A neighbor told me they'd left days ago, didn't say where. I posted on social media, trying to find her. Mutual friends blocked me. Her family blocked me. Even her ex-husband, the one who'd cheated on her, blocked me. That's when I realized something. Everyone knew. Everyone knew what I'd done to Lily. Vanessa had told them. Maybe Lily had told them. Maybe they'd seen it themselves during visits and holidays, the way I treated her differently, the way I dismissed her, the way I made a child feel unwelcome in her own home. And they'd all picked a side. Nobody picked mine. My own friends started distancing themselves. The poker nights stopped. The texts got shorter. One of my closest buddies finally told me the truth over beers. Man, I saw how you were with that girl. I thought it was just you being strict, you know? But hearing what you actually did? Taking her AC? Using her room to smoke? That's messed up. She was disrespectful. She was 13, bro. A kid. And you treated her like she was an enemy. I got kids. If any guy did that to my daughter, I'd put him through a wall. He finished his beer and left. We haven't spoken since. My mother called me 2 weeks after Vanessa left. I thought she'd comfort me, tell me I wasn't as bad as everyone was making me out to be. Instead, she said, I raised you better than this. Mom, you don't know the whole story. I know enough. Vanessa called me before she left. Told me everything. That little girl had her belongings ruined by your cigarette smoke. She slept on a couch in her own home because you wanted her room for poker. You took away her air conditioning in the middle of summer. She was being difficult. She was a child. A child you were supposed to protect. You were going to be her stepfather. You were supposed to love her like your own. And instead you treated her worse than a stranger. I didn't. Don't lie to me. Don't lie to yourself. You know exactly what you did. And you're going to have to live with it. She hung up. My own mother. The woman who defended me through everything. She'd finally seen who I really was. I started drinking. Not socially. Not casually. Every night, alone in my empty house, I'd sit in Lily's old room and drink until I couldn't think anymore. I'd stare at the walls and remember the way she'd looked at me that last night. The resignation. The acceptance that this was her life now. I'd done that to her. A 13-year-old girl who'd already been through her parents' divorce, who'd already lost her stable home once, and I'd made her feel like a prisoner in the next one. The school contacted me 3 weeks after Vanessa left. Not about Lily. About me. They'd received reports that Lily had been experiencing difficulties at home. Child Protective Services had been notified. They wanted to interview me as part of their investigation. The interview lasted 2 hours. I tried to explain. I tried to make them understand that I wasn't abusive, I was just strict. That Lily had been exaggerating. That Vanessa was poisoning people against me. The caseworker looked at me with this expression I'll never forget. Not anger. Not judgment. Just sadness. Mr. Thompson, the child described being forced to sleep on a couch for months while her bedroom was used for adult activities. She described having her air conditioning removed as punishment. She described being isolated from friends, having her belongings damaged, being told she wasn't part of the family. That's not how it? We have photographs. The cigarette burns on her textbooks. The beer stains on her comforter. Her mother documented everything. I had no response. You're fortunate that Ms. Rodriguez chose to leave rather than press charges. The evidence we've seen could support a case for child abuse. Child abuse. There it was. The word I'd been running from. The truth I'd refused to see. I wasn't a strict stepfather. I was an abuser. I'd taken a vulnerable child and systematically broken her down because she wasn't biologically mine. Because she didn't worship me. Because she existed. The caseworker told me that if I ever had contact with children in a caregiving role again, they'd be watching. She strongly recommended therapy. I started going the next week. My therapist's name was Dr. Okonkwo. She was direct in a way that made me uncomfortable. She didn't let me make excuses. She didn't let me minimize. Tell me about your childhood, she said in our first session. So I told her. The absent father. The overwhelmed mother. The poverty. The feeling of never having anything that was truly mine. And how did you feel when Lily's belongings were in the room you used to consider yours? Like she was taking something from me. A room you weren't using. It was still mine. Was it? Or was it hers, and you couldn't accept that? That question haunted me for weeks. I'd spent my whole life feeling like I had nothing. When I finally had something, a house, a space, a sense of ownership, I couldn't share it. Even with a child who needed stability more than I did. Lily wasn't taking from me. She was just existing. And I punished her for it because I was too broken to see her as anything other than competition. I tried to find Vanessa 3 months after she left. I hired a private investigator. Not to confront her. Just to know where she was. To know the kids were okay. He found her in Oregon. She'd moved across the country. New job, new apartment, new life. The kids were enrolled in school. Lily was in therapy. The girl's doing better, the investigator told me. Her teachers say she's coming out of her shell. Making friends. Smiling more. Smiling more. In 3 months away from me, she'd started smiling again. That's when I finally understood. I wasn't just bad for Lily. I was the thing she needed to escape. I was the darkness she had to survive. And now that she was free, she was healing. Without me. Because of my absence, not despite it. I wrote Vanessa a letter. Not asking for forgiveness. Not begging her to come back. Just apologizing. I apologize for treating Lily like an intruder instead of a daughter. I apologize for using her room, damaging her belongings, making her feel unsafe in her own home. I apologize for the AC, the electronics, the school dance. I apologize for calling her baggage. I apologize for every moment I made her feel like she didn't matter. I sent it to her new address. No return address. No expectation of response. 3 weeks later, I got a reply. Not from Vanessa. From Lily. Just one paragraph. Written in careful, deliberate handwriting. I used to wonder what I did wrong. Why you hated me so much. My therapist helped me understand that it was never about me. You were broken before I met you, and you took it out on me because I was an easy target. I don't forgive you. I might never forgive you. But I don't hate you anymore. I just feel sorry for you. Because I have my mom and my brother and people who actually love me. And you're alone in that house, sitting in my old room, knowing you're the reason your family left. I hope you get help. I hope you become a better person. But I never want to see you again. I read that letter 42 times. A 13-year-old girl had more emotional intelligence, more grace, more maturity than I'd ever had. She diagnosed me perfectly. Broken before she met me. Taking it out on an easy target. She was right. I'd been carrying wounds from my childhood and bleeding on everyone around me. I told myself I was strong, self-made, a survivor. But survivors don't tear down children to feel tall. That's what bullies do. That's what abusers do. That's what I did. It's been 8 months since Vanessa left. I'm still in therapy. Still in this empty house. Still waking up every morning to the silence I created. I sold the poker table. Turned Lily's old room back into a bedroom. Not that anyone will ever use it. Just because I couldn't stand looking at the space I'd stolen from her. I quit smoking. Quit drinking. Quit all the things I used to avoid facing myself. My therapist says I'm making progress. That I'm learning to recognize my patterns, my triggers, the distorted thinking that made me see a child as an enemy. But progress doesn't mean redemption. Some things can't be undone. Lily is 14 now. She's in Oregon, thriving, becoming the person she was always meant to be. Vanessa is probably dating someone new, someone who will love her kids the way I should have. Marcus probably doesn't even remember me. And I'm here. 35 years old. Alone in a 3-bedroom house that echoes with every step. No family. No friends. No one who wants to hear my voice. This is what I earned. Not what was done to me. What I did to myself. I had a chance to be something. A stepfather. A husband. A family man. I had 2 kids who needed stability and a woman who loved me despite my rough edges. And I threw it all away because I couldn't share a bedroom with a 13-year-old girl. Because I needed to feel powerful more than I needed to feel loved. Because I was so afraid of being taken from that I became the one who takes. If you're reading this and you have stepchildren. If you've ever felt resentment toward kids who aren't biologically yours. If you've ever thought about asserting dominance over a child to remind them who's in charge. Stop. Stop right now. Because I was you. I told myself I was the man of the house. I told myself respect had to be earned through fear. I told myself that child wasn't mine, so I didn't owe her anything. And now I'm sitting alone on a Friday night, staring at a room that used to belong to a girl I traumatized, reading a letter from a 14-year-old who sees me more clearly than I ever saw myself. She doesn't hate me anymore. She pities me. That's worse. Because hate means I still matter. Pity means I'm just a cautionary tale she'll tell her own kids someday. A warning about the kind of man not to become. I wanted to be remembered as someone important. Instead, I'll be remembered as the reason a little girl learned to lock her door at night. Stepchildren aren't obstacles to your happiness. They're not competition for your partner's love. They're not baggage. They're human beings who've already lost one version of their family and are terrified of losing another. If you can't love them, leave. Don't stay and destroy them. I stayed. I destroyed. And now I know what it feels like to be the monster hiding in a child's memory. Don't become me.